Right, is this working now? I think this might be working now. Sorry about that, folks. Bit of a technical problem. For some reason, it wouldn't let me change the orientation. Where the button usually is, there was nothing there before I went live. It all looked to be set up to be horizontal, but there was nothing. Then I pressed live and it went to vertical. I don't quite know what happened there. But anyway, I think we are back. So welcome to a little Friday night live running session here at Hollybush Railway. Got J50 running on the Dalrymple branch line at the moment with a freight train, and the Terrier with a mixed passenger and freight on the main line. Hello, Particle Station. Yeah, I think we've got the technical problems sorted out now. Yeah, I was doing that and swiped down to where the orientation option usually is, and it wasn't there. The joys of live streaming. Everything always works perfectly until you actually hit the go live button. I'm just going to bring the J50 to a halt, change the points, switch it from the Dalrymple branch line to the outer main line, because, as you might have seen, good evening, Emperor's Path. How are you doing? And Afogashai trains. Afogashai. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it happens to the best of us, doesn't it? You set everything up, get everything exactly as you want it, press go live, and then suddenly everything changes. Yeah, I'm not bad either. It's been a bit of a frustrating day in some respects. Not helped by heading out to play guitar earlier on, and the bus driver closing the door whilst I was still getting on without looking, and closing the door onto my guitar case and nearly crushing my guitar. Tried busking for a wee while, and then the heavens absolutely opened and it started chucking it down. But back home now, got some trains to play with this evening. Nice goods train behind the Terrier. Yeah, I thought I'd do a wee mixed passenger and freight today. Make it look a wee bit more interesting than just having the usual Terrier passenger train. So I was looking up some photos of the mixed trains that they used to have, and thought that would be a nice one to run. Hi, Bims Engines. I'm not bad. Slight frustrating day, as I was just saying earlier. Some annoying people, but all better now for some running some trains. Well, I'm hoping to see you on Tuesday. Well, yeah, of course, Tuesday, the big day for TT, Hornby's 2026 product release. Um, I don't know. I mean, there's things that I'm hoping for, as in, if you gave me an unlimited wish list, then yeah, I'd love to see something like class 156, 158 sprinters, DMUs. Um, it's going to be, yeah, one steam and one diesel, I believe, is what we're actually getting. I mean, the Black Five's got to be a good shout, hasn't it? 158 top of your list too, yeah. I'd love one. 156. I mean, I was on one of those 156 sprinters today. I was busking down in Kilmarnock earlier on, and that's what I get down there. I tell you what, I kind of would like to see. I'm not expecting that they'll get this, but for nostalgia's sake, having been an '80s Hornby kid with a double O set when I was younger. Now that they've got Normandy, and I'll bring my Normandy around whilst I'm talking about this. They've got a little 040 chassis that's working really well here. How about a little pug? How about a TT120 Smoky Joe? I mean, just for nostalgia's sake, surely that would be a good seller. Class 20 is a good shout as well. Lots of them running in Ayrshire back in the day, back down home. Sorry, my laptop's pinging with Facebook messages. Trying to follow through lots of chats at the moment because some group chats and chats with friends on Facebook, and I've just come off the top of the pops um, hashtag chat on Blue Sky, and now I'm getting around to doing my railway live stream. So I'm still following three different lots of chats at once. What about you guys? I mean, what do you think we're likely to see, and what would you like to see? Oh, bubble car. Of course, we're getting the Hellion bubble car, and there was news on that today, wasn't there? Because they've just announced that they are going to be doing a slightly revised tooling of it. So everyone that was complaining that the front ends didn't look exactly right, they're getting their wish, and they're getting that tooling for the smooth cab, and the plated end cab is going to be thinned down a wee bit. And to be honest, that wasn't something that massively bothered me. And their 122, it looks like a 122. I mean, yeah, you can argue that the front ends maybe didn't look exactly like that on every single version of it, but I'm I'm not a horrific counter modeler. If it looks pretty much right and it runs well. What are we looking at in the chat here? A WD280 or a 14? But that's probably too far off, not numerous enough to bring it right now. Seek out ballast hoppers. Be good for your era Emperor's Path, yeah. You know, speaking of eras, we're kind of running with the TARDIS on today because, like, strictly speaking, my era should be 80s, 90s, and it's all steam today. Well, that 108 diesel as well. But having just got Blink Bonnie back from a repair job, I would hop in the TARDIS, go back to the steam era. Five seven XX, 56XX, 28XX. Yeah. I will be honest, I will have to look some of these up. Oh, is that the GWR pannier tanks? Yeah. When I was younger, I used to know all this kind of stuff off the top of my head. I had it all down off pat. It doesn't all sort of stick so easily these days. Yeah, there's a surprising lack of GWR and TT so far, so that must be something that Hornby are looking at some point. Has there been anything GWR yet? Well, it's a more modern day Great Western HST, isn't there? But I don't think they've done anything else out west. And yeah, that's got to be a good starting point for a lot of people. You're absolutely right, Emperor's Path. I can imagine there's a lot of people waiting for some GWR locos. Yeah, I had a look at the GWR HST at Model Rail Scotland's. Dave Watson was running it on his Westburn TT layout. I think it's very quiet. Yeah. I thought it was quite noisy. I actually sometimes when I'm running the layout, I will sit with earplugs in just to quieten it down a wee bit even more. But it's helped by the fact that everything that I'm running tonight is on a coreless motor. If I've got Falcon out running, it's got an old 3-pole, one of the original motors, and it's noticeably noisier. Network Rail 37, Andrew. Good evening. Before that's Normandy, isn't it? A little tank engine. That's the one there with the Coleman's wagon. It was slightly different before. The wee one. No worries, Andrew. Nice to catch up with you. Catch you another time. Is that the '08 diesel you're talking about, Bims? Yeah, I love the wee locos. For the first wee while, the one thing that TT really had been missing was small locomotives like these ones. I can understand why Hornby started off with the big hitters like the A1, A4, and that is just stalled. Skyfinger to the rescue. That's what happens when I hadn't run something down that siding in a wee while. Bit of dust and dirt on the track, probably. Cheers, Africa. Glad you enjoy being here. Early start tomorrow, no worries. Thanks for dropping in. What, two of the four-wheel coaches from Hornby, been dead impressed with them. Yeah, the four wheels, they're lovely wee ones. Again, that takes me back to my double O layout when I was young. I used to have two little four-wheel coaches like that, in the kind of in the I can't remember which livery it is, but it was like a dark brown livery with Smoky Joe pulling them. It's the only one your daughter wants to play with. Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, they are cute wee things, aren't they? Four wheels and a terrier. Heretic may prefer those to the prototypical ones, yeah. Well, rule number one, if you enjoy playing with it, then that's the main thing, isn't it? Folk can get way too bogged down on how prototypical something is. Am I getting the Class 37 coal sets? I'm certainly hoping to. I'm just waiting until Tuesday to see exactly what all gets announced, and then I'm going to see what I can budget for. But as it stands, that coal sectorization livery 37, that's looking very appealing, because where I grew up in Ayrshire, I lived just a stone's throw from Ayrshire, and there were loads of that livery 37 about then, hauling these massive coal wagons from the pits down to Ayr Harbour. So if I can make the budgets stretch to a few things, I think that's probably going to be somewhere near the top of the list. Obviously, it'll depend on exactly what we get on Tuesday. But I'm thinking, yeah, another tractor to join Loch Rannoch. That might be nice. And I've only got two of those merry-go-round hopper coal wagons at the moment, so a couple more of them in the set. It's still quite short for a proper coal train compared to the seven blanks that I've got. But yeah, yeah, I think the Honda could be onto a winner with that Coalfield freight set. Nothing beats a good tractor from time to time. Yeah, absolutely. Certainly a strong start to our TT April. Yeah, we'll see what else is coming soon. Don't think you can get a full 32 rake of those wagons by now. You need quite a bit of space to have the full whack of them. I reckon I could get a good few on here. More than the two I've got at the moment, anyway. And when Blink Bonnie comes around again in a second, I should give a shout out to Richard Turnbull of Model Railworks for the fantastic repair job he's done on it. You off now, Jonathan? All right, take care. Cheers for joining me. 16 tanker rake. That is quite a collection of them. TTA, that's the big ones, isn't it? So you posted earlier about them, but I hadn't heard them before. Yeah, I mean, I'd seen Richard about on the Hornby forums, and I knew he did a bit of sort of like 3D print modeling. I didn't know he did repairs as well, but he's can start doing that as a service now, and he's got Blink Bonnie running brilliantly again. TTA is the small one, TEA is the big ones, right? Always get them mixed up. TEA is what I always want a cup of. I should get some of the big ones for here myself. Because that's another real life thing for an air surely out. Because we've got the aviation fuel delivery trains for Prestwick Airport. Excuse me a second whilst my laptop decides to almost crash when I'm trying to follow the chat on it. I'm trying to follow the chat for the live stream on a 10-year-old laptop that is dying. No, no worries, everyone. You chat amongst yourselves whilst my computer dies. If I lose the thread of what's going on, you just keep it going yourselves. If I turn the camera around, I can. When I got the repair job back and the new wheels put onto Blink Bonnie, I don't know if you can see. Maybe not quite at that angle. Hang on. I got the old wheels back from Richard, the ones that he'd replaced. So I've put them into a little scene there where they're repairing a tank engine. You have a nice evening and weekend too. Thanks for joining me. Got the Weems 7 wagons there that were the exclusive from Model Rail Scotland. Weathered them up a wee bit today. Hadn't actually planned to. It kind of just happened accidentally. I was fitting them with some magnetic couplings so that I could use them on the layout because I've got all my locos. I've got magnetic couplings just for to make it easier just to get everything set up and coupled and uncoupled. And there's been this shortage at West Hill Wagon Works. I think they've got some more in stock finally, but they haven't had any in a while. So I was taking some of the couplers out from I'm going to be using tonight, and I hadn't realised just how much um, dirt and grime had kind of got attracted onto the magnets. I got all over my fingers when I was trying to fit them, and wound up accidentally weathering the wagons with it. I think it actually works quite well. Dirtied them up nicely. Yeah, accidental weathering session where you don't realise just how dirty your hands are. I'm glad that happened off camera. You didn't see that. Note to self: check which way the points are before you put your shunting loco through them. Just derailed Normandy. Layout story. Well, Hollybush is a real place. This is an entirely fictionalized version of it, though. Hollybush is a very, very small village in Ayrshire where I grew up. It's where my grandparents lived. And in real life, it's on the line between Ayr and O'Mellington, which is a single track branch line, which was intended to be used for getting coal from from the pits down to the harbour at Ayr, and it also has had a passenger service until the 60s for these little villages. So I wanted to take the name of that just in memory of my grandparents because they passed away a few years ago. The layout itself is closer to railways that I know growing up in Ayr and where I live in Glasgow now. So like the layout of the station up at the back. Two bay platforms, two through platforms. That's very much like Ayr station. The line going up the back of it, that's quite like what you used to have at Kilmarnock station. Kilmarnock station is a wee area of Glasgow where my band rehearse. And it's got two platforms on the Argyll line, low level into Glasgow Central. It used to have an incline line that went up behind the station. And it's also quite reminiscent of the City Union line, which runs very close to where I live in the south side of Glasgow. It's got some bridges like the one up there. And that's disused for passengers now, but it's still used for empty stock movements. But this elevated section on viaducts goes around Glasgow, around where the Citizens Theatre is. I'm passing that on the bus most days when I'm heading out to work. Yeah, I'm quite close to Paul Maddy. So I'm in Govan Hill, kind of where Queen's Park Station is on the Cathcart Circle. And Paul Maddy's just down to just to the east of me. So if I'm walking out to the rehearsal studio for the bands, then that's out that way, out towards Kilmarnock. Xerox 32B, good evening. Welcome along to tonight's rerunning session. There last year trying to get the dimensions of sentinels. Cool. How did you get on with that? Just completed a low profile of the local works. Cheers, Empress Path. Have a good evening and all the best with the editing. I know full well from doing mine how long that can take. Posted a video the other day showing the local works. Cool, cool. I'll get a wee look at that later on then. 100 feet long. You're going to need some space to model that. I wonder. One thing I haven't done yet is send the newly repaired Blink Bonnie up the incline. How is it going to cope with that? That looks quite happy with it. Yeah, there's bridges like that one all over the city. So the ones that are closest to me are just by the Citizens Theatre, and they look very much like that one up the back. It's a shame that line's disused. Well, not completely disused. It's used for empty stock between the depots. But it would be handy to have the City Union back in passenger service again. Because they keep talking about this Glasgow Metro thing, but they've been talking about it for, it feels like decades. You are originally from Partick, so you'll know what it looks like. And there's these bridges all over the place. You think you couldn't possibly have too many 7 planks, could you? I thought I had loads of them until I got the J50, and now got them all out in one rake. It felt like the whole layout was just about covered in them when they were all sitting in the goods yard for the OA to Normandy to Shunt. But now they're all out in one goods train. I could definitely go a few more. Thank you, Patrick Richmond. It's 32B. I love the mixed passenger goods train that Stepney Pool as well. It's Brighton actually, but it looks the same as Stepney. Always love such trains since they never run here in Germany, as far as I know. Did you not get mixed trains over there? It's not a. It wasn't a common thing on the branch on the main lines here, but little rural branch lines where there wasn't a lot of freight traffic, you would get these combined passenger and freight trains. Just throw a couple of wagons on for whatever was needed on that day. It's a very cute wee train, that one. I love that one. I had just been running it just as a passenger service most of the time, but I was looking at some pictures of mixed passenger goods trains, and I thought that was a nice wee idea for something a little bit different I could run. It's getting a wee bit dark here. Try and get a bit more light onto them. You see what they are. See what they look like a bit more. No worries. Catch you later. Right. So it's just not a thing that German railways did. I mean, there's definitely some sense in keeping them as separate things. But as I say, they weren't that common, massively common in Britain. You know, most of the freight trains were dedicated goods trains, but on the very rural branch lines, you would get a few of these mixed ones. Just coming up to 10, so I think I'm going to wrap the stream up in a wee bit. But I'm thinking of doing this as a kind of fairly regular thing. Jump on for an hour or so on Friday nights, and yeah, thanks for watching, everyone who's joined me tonight. I hope you can join me again next time. Hey, Greg. We've been going about 50 minutes already. The plan was just to do an hour of live streaming tonight. I caught your new video the other day. Nice to see that everything seems to be going smoothly with your new iPad. More HM7000's functions hiding in plain sight than you'd realised. So what all have you found? And bear in mind that you're talking to someone who has never actually opened the app and is running purely DC. I was talking to someone at the Lothian's Model Rail exhibition about TT, and he was raving about HM7000s and being able to have everything on your phone or your iPad. And it's like he was trying to convert me from DC to DCC stuff, but I could not get through to him that what I like about analog is that it gets me off my screen. I mean, yeah, I'm sitting here with a phone filming it and a laptop following a live chat, but when I'm just running it just for myself, what I like about the hobby is no screens, big analog dials, and getting offline for a wee bit. And yeah, it means I don't have all the lights and sounds and things that everybody on HM7000 or any of the DCC systems have. But yeah, I'm just quite happy just in my wee analog world. Yes, it's the a Morley Vortrack. That's what everything's running off there. That's been a great controller. Once this goods train is clear of the junction and not fouling the points, Bring Blink Bonnie back down. Give BB a few laps before I head off for the night. I think this is running smoother than it ever has. Oh no, your internet crashed. I hate it when that happens. Yeah, Richard at Model Railworks has done a brilliant job getting Blink Bonnie back up and running. Between the new wheel sets and the coreless motor, I don't think it'd ever been running that smoothly. Internet connection always so awful, but in between the finished round of solitaire. That's good stuff. Putting your time to good use there when your internet's down. So yeah, I am going to sign off in a wee minute. But as I was saying earlier, I'm thinking of doing this as a sort of semi-regular, most Friday nights jump on for a wee hour or so's live stream. And of course, by next Friday, there'll be lots to talk about as we'll have had Hornby's latest announcement of what they're doing for TT 120 for the rest of the year. So looking forward to that on Tuesday. We'll see what they're going to bankrupt me with this time. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to sign off for the night now. Take care, and I'll catch you again soon. Good night, everyone.